What a fucking wild day, man. Oh my god. Congrats to Timberwolves fans. I have a few Timberwolves fans that are probably going to listen to this video, so right off the bat, congrats. What a fucking win for this franchise. The most important win in franchise history. Going on the road in Game 7, down 20 points. Offense looking really bad in the first half. Anthony Edwards was getting double teamed. The Nuggets were just loading up whatever side of the floor he was on. They loaded up towards him. And even still, I thought Anthony Edwards was not aggressive enough, even if he was getting doubled and they were doing a good job of forcing the ball out of his hands. I still felt like there were times where Anthony Edwards could have attacked instead of passing it off to Rudy Gobert in space and having him try to attack off the dribble, which happened a few times. Like in the other games before Game 6, they tried to, force the ball to Rudy on switches, which I actually thought was a little bit more effective in this game, especially in the second half, and we'll talk about that in a bit. They were drawing a bunch of fouls on Rudy Gobert's switches, but aside from that, to be down 20 on the road against the defending champs, against a team that was one of the best clutch teams in league history, probably, if you look at the metrics, and to walk them down in their own building, walk them down, especially in that third quarter, just an incredible win. Karl Anthony Towns, as a longtime Karl Anthony Towns stockholder, and I've had multiple videos on this channel about Karl Anthony Towns, some of my day one subscribers can attest to that. It got a little shaky at times, but he has the biggest game of his life in the biggest game in franchise history. Played great defense, had a few fouls in there, because it's not a Karl Anthony Towns experience without some dumb fouls, like that fifth foul on the reach-in on Jokic. Just can't help himself. But he took advantage of post-ups on Jamal Murray. He hit threes. He was rebounding the ball well. He was defending Jokic well. He was the best Jokic defending big on the Timberwolves in this series. And that includes a guy that has the Defensive Player of the Year trophy locked up. And Cat showed up. In that first half, Cat's offense kept the Timberwolves attached while Anthony Edwards was struggling, while Nickeil Alexander-Walker was missing open threes. And in the third quarter, I really felt like the Timberwolves could have been up more as they were making their run, but they were defending Murray well. Michael Porter Jr. was making some really weird decisions, like not swinging it to KCP on the left wing on one possession for a three, and instead he took a contested three that he bricked really badly. And the Timberwolves, I thought, their offensive process in the first half, like I mentioned earlier, was horrendous, just awful. I don't understand why when Anthony Edwards did get off the ball, the Timberwolves wouldn't get the ball back to him off movement. I don't understand why they were forcing stuff to Gobert to attack in space. If it's him sealing under the basket, even though those are dicey propositions, I would still be okay with the Timberwolves trying to give Gobert a bone every now and then. But passing it off to him on the pocket pass in the pick and roll and having him attack from the elbows. There was one time in the third quarter where Gobert did he did it multiple times, because in the first half he did a fake dribble handoff and he just completely missed the layup. And I was like, we're running QB keepers on DHOs for Rudy Gobert? All right, man. I just did not like the offensive process from the Timberwolves. And then in the third quarter, there was that, or it might have been the fourth quarter, there was one possession where Rudy Gobert was way out past the three-point line trying to give the ball to Anthony Edwards, and Jokic was all up on him, and Gobert spun around him. And though it was a foul on Jokic, just Gobert attacking from that far away, Timberwolves fans had to have a fucking heart attack watching that. But let's stick to the main topic, which is Karl Anthony Towns, because I thought the way he played in that first half kept the Timberwolves attached. And though the Timberwolves got down 20, I thought their offensive process in the third quarter got better, because in the first half also, they would swing it to Cat off of the double from Anthony Edwards. They would swing it to Cat at the top of the key, and I thought Cat would make decisions a beat too long. That was probably the only critique I had of Cat in the first half, and other than maybe some dumb fouls, but that's going to happen. But I thought at the top of the key, whenever the Wolves would swing it off that Ant double team, Karl Anthony Towns would like look to see if Gobert was sealing and then swing it to the other guy on the 3-point line. And I thought he could have just made decisions quicker. If it's a swing to the corner and just no thinking, they could have gotten, open shots, more open shots. Just stuff like that in the first half where their offensive process was just horrendous. But in that third quarter, man, Anthony Edwards got going. Their defense turned up another notch somehow. And the Nuggets really had no choice but to play their starting five almost the entire game, except for Michael Porter Jr., because Christian Braun was somebody that was much needed in the rotation for athleticism and to guard Anthony Edwards. Throughout this series, it was a mismatch when KCP was guarding Ant, even though I thought KCP did better in this game. But Christian Braun, I thought in this game in particular, did a great job guarding Ant. And he was really the only guy off the bench to get nearly 20 minutes because Michael Porter Jr., for as effective as he was rebounding the ball and getting some blocks, he was just ineffective offensively, terrible decisions. Aaron Gordon, only 2 of 5 from the field. The Nuggets also decided that Aaron Gordon was going to be on Anthony Edwards a lot, whether that was, putting Aaron Gordon on one of the screeners that was going to go up and set the screen for Ant so Gordon can switch. But the Timberwolves solved all that in the third quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, this is why Game 7s are fucking fun. Because Rudy Gobert, even though he had a better third quarter, he was pretty bad in the first half. And then in the fourth quarter, to start the fourth quarter, Jokic beat him on one of those drives where Jokic just put his shoulder into Gobert's chest and then just lofted a soft floater off the glass. And that was really the only mistake Gobert had. It was kind of like, okay, Gobert can't guard Jokic. We know this. And Jokic is just going to hit tough shots over Gobert because he knows how to use his weight and his fleet of foot and his, second jump ability and all that stuff. Jokic was killing the glass, but Gobert on offense and making all the little plays. On the defensive end, getting big offensive rebounds when the Wolves extended their lead to 5 and the Nuggets were trying to chip away. Jokic would be hitting big threes in this fourth quarter after starting 0 of 7 and struggling in this series. But Gobert got big offensive rebounds that led to fouls, getting fouls so the Nuggets would be in the penalty early with like 8 minutes and 45 seconds left. And then, of course, one of the big plays of the game, I nearly fell out of my fucking chair when Gobert hit that fadeaway when the Timberwolves had like 4.5 seconds left to shoot the ball and they were inbounding. The Nuggets did a good job covering up the Nuggets. The Nuggets did a good job covering up any options for the Timberwolves, and they forced it to Gobert on the block, and Gobert did a one-legged lean-back fadeaway, and it hit nothing but the rim, and the net didn't even fucking move. It was one of those, it hits the back of the rim, but it hits it in a way where the net doesn't move. And it was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And the Timberwolves defense was just incredible. Naz Reid, once again, another big game. Guarded Jokic well also. I also thought Naz Reid was great defending Jokic, and he was the second best Jokic defender on the Timberwolves in this series. Got a big block on Jokic late in the fourth quarter, and it really looked like for the Nuggets that their 2 superstars were going to pull it out, but they just didn't get enough help. Jamal Murray had a big first half, and then by the time it was like 8 minutes left in the third quarter, the Timberwolves just turned up the pressure. Anthony Edwards got a few strip steals and fast break layups. The Timberwolves were spectacular all series. They responded. The team building was incredible this year. The Gobert trade paid off. The Wolves are in the Western Conference Finals to face the Dallas Mavericks. Who the fuck predicted that? I had a Nuggets Warriors Western Conference Finals to start the year. That was my preseason prediction, and I was way off. Congrats to the Timberwolves. And by the way, for the Nuggets fans in the Denver, Colorado media market, because I actually like the Nuggets, Jokic, Murray, and all those guys, but in particular to their fans and media, now you guys can have a little more time this offseason to come up with Embiid, QAnon conspiracy theories for next season, since that was your favorite thing to do apparently this year. Sorry, had to take a shot. I'm a Sixer fan. But anyway, great win for the Timberwolves. I cannot believe this. This was just an insane day of basketball. I did not have the Pacers in the conference finals. I did not have the Wolves or the Mavericks in the conference finals. I know I gave a prediction for the Pacers-Celtics series in my, Knicks-Pacers Game 7 reaction. But this series is going to take me a bit to figure out. I haven't really thought about it yet. I just know this is going to be a fantastic series. Just like all these Western Conference Finals series have been. Well, at least round 2. But the Timberwolves poised to walk down the Nuggets in their building in a Game 7 with a trip to the conference finals on the line. That's legendary stuff right there. And we're getting an Anthony Edwards Conference Finals, an Anthony Edwards-Luka Doncic Western Conference Finals. That is fucking cool. I know people are going to make small market jokes and jokes about TV ratings, but I'm a hoop fan and I love this fucking series. And I do think the Pacers could have the potential to make things interesting for the Celtics if the Celtics, you know, do Celtic playoff things and lose playoff games at home. I'll do a separate video on the Nuggets later, and definitely all the teams that were eliminated. But outside of their starting 5, what are the Nuggets going to do with their back end of the bench? Because it was clear Peyton Watson wasn't ready by the end of this series. Christian Brown was really the only consistent guy in the rotation. Reggie Jackson was in the rotation too, but he was the backup guard by default. You just wonder how much they missed somebody like Bruce Brown. That's all. And not even so much Jeff Green, but Bruce Brown was like legitimately like a 6th starter. And the Nuggets just needed that type of guy to maybe have some answers just in terms of a lineup change. Or if Michael Porter Jr. or Aaron Gordon aren't playing well, you could go to Bruce Brown. If Kentavious Caldwell-Pope isn't playing well, you could go to Bruce Brown and Christian Brown. Just felt like they were 1 or 2 guys short, and the starters just had to play heavy minutes. But congrats to the Wolves. Successful rebuild. Tim Connolly, the mad scientist, takes down the team that he built in Denver with a new team he built here in Minnesota, having 3 bigs. It looked like it was fucking over, and I was dead wrong in this series. I had the Nuggets winning, and then I was shocked, even though I gave the Nuggets benefit of the doubt, and then they won 3 games in a row, and I thought it was over. And the Timberwolves just withstood all of that. And now they're going to be hosting Game 1 and 2 of the Western Conference Finals in Minneapolis.